want to drag us into it, so now we gotta get some straightening. Yo. Wu-Tang told him he didn't get the picture. That's what you get for not listening to niggas. Don't act surprised, youngin'. Gotta protect your neck. You make a living talking out the side of it, because you might get hit in the same spot. Long distance, one round, straight shot. Don't talk about mocking the dead. I remember what he said about Breonna, who was shot in the bed. Pop shit about George Floyd and Trayvon. So when niggas say that we don't care, stay calm. Black on black crime in fatherless homes. Then a white boy shot him. Now his kid's father is gone. This ain't even a diss, it's all fact. Perpetrators of gun violence ain't all black. Try to put the hat on us, we call cap. Last words was gang violence, what you call that? Not the kind of guy I'd idolize. Said if he saw a black pilot, he hope he was qualified. The flight he on now, he might get nauseous. Breonna the flight attendant, Trayvon in the cockpit. Now watch this, I'll make it worse for y'all. Can't get me fired, I don't work for y'all. I ain't got a code switch nor a perk for y'all. We ain't lost a damn thing now that Kirk is gone. I would never wish death, but we gon' be fine. Bottom line, he was no hero of me and mine. Niggas get shot every day, be the National Guard in DC, but Utah blazed him. FBA, we wasn't even in it, but they mad at us and we ain't had shit to do with it.
My crack, my neck. Oh, sorry, my bad. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the place where we set oppression ablaze. My man's had me until that FBA, but everything else was heat, though. Everything else before that, all flames. Yes, fire upon them, burn the bad man down. I thought that was a nice way to start the show. I hope you guys enjoyed a little quick rap freestyle on them a little bit, styling on them. Welcome, everybody. We getting style on them here tonight. Appreciate all of our folks checking in on YouTube, all of our folks checking in on the Twitchers. Thank you so much. Come on in here, gang. We got a good show to talk about because I wasn't exactly sure where to go tonight. I really wasn't because there's so many places we can go because everything is on fire. Jazz hands, yes, jazz fingers. Yes, everything is on fire. Every single fucking thing is on fire. I am going to talk about 3i Atlas one day. I'm not ready yet because I think some of y'all think that I think y'all think I'm a little detached because I'm always looking up. I talk about astrology. I'm telling y'all the aliens is coming, and I know some of y'all are concerned. I want y'all to know I'm fine. But by and large, I am fine. No, I am not. I am looking for them aliens. I ain't going to even fucking hold you, nigga. Go Google the 3i Atlas shit. This shit is crazy, okay? And niggas not talking about it. But I'm not talking about that tonight. Tonight, everybody, we are going to do briefly the week in whiteness. Now, listen, I know you say, Kim, I watch the regular mainstream legacy news every day. We do the week in whiteness every day. I understand that. But there are a number of notable stories coming out of white America that contradicts the way that they view themselves. Yes. Because for mainstream white America, or at least significant portions of it, maybe not all of white America. We definitely know not all of white America, but big enough chunks of white America seem to think that the others are the problem. The blacks, the migrants, the gays, the trans. Everybody else is the fucking problem except for the whites. Okay. And we all know what the real deal is. So I want to bring y'all some stories here that you may have missed from this week in whiteness. We're also going to check into what is going on out of Memphis, Tennessee. As you know, President Donald Trump is sending federal forces to Memphis. I'm sorry. Trump has deployed his federal troops, his little federal minions, so many different places. I'm starting to get them all confused, but I'm talking about the one in Memphis, Tennessee, where one of our comrades has been on the front line, standing 10 toes down. You might recognize her. She's a bad bitch. We're going to be checking in with Memphis here in a bit. And what else? What the fuck was I going to talk about? I guess them two things. We're going to check in the week in whiteness and hashtag free Memphis, Maine. And then I have a lovely palate cleanser at the end for you. And if you have been getting hated on, not even fucking hate on, I don't even like the way that sounds. That's very auntie language. If you've been getting hated on, no, If motherfuckers have been flapping their goddamn gums, if motherfuckers have been running their mouth, got your name in their fucking mouth, this palate cleanser is for you tonight, baby. We on partial solar eclipse vibes tonight. I don't give a fuck what you think. Okay. Yes, we are on partial solar eclipse vibes tonight. New moon in Libra. It's Libra season, bitches. Okay. And shout out to my Libras. You know why? Because people think Libra, the sign of the scales, people think Libras are even keeled and balanced. And that is partially true. Okay. Libras are the real gangsters of the zodiac. Okay. I have Libra rising in my chart. I have Leo sun and Libra rising. Play with me if you want to, because I'd be quiet until I'm not. I'm safe until I'm dangerous. Okay. Okay. Let's all, as Kalechi says, let us all behave ourselves, shall we? So anyway, let's kick it off with the week in whiteness. As you guys know, on the day of the fucking solar eclipse, shocker, was that the 21st of September? Do you remember when the niggas let the chopper sing in September? They was blasting somebody's head away. That's too soon? Sorry. Hey, I want the remix. Hey, whoa. Say, do you remember? Oh, let the chopper sing in September. That's not nice, Kim. Be nice. Okay, I'll try. But we don't be nice to white nationalists, living or dead, do we? We don't pay homage nor reverence nor respect to junior Klansmen, do we? I don't. Do you? Apparently my senators do, but that's a story I'm gonna get to here in just a second. I just wanted to play all this clip because here's the thing, y'all. There's a lot. We are at a point in our existence on our human timeline, or at least this particular dimension and timeline that we are existing in right now. Y'all, the demons can't keep the masks on, okay? It's mask off. These niggas can't even pretend. They can't even fake it no more. When I seen Trump get up at the chart, and trust me, I did not watch that shit. One of the young hoodoo girlies on TikTok said, don't watch that shit because they're going to be spell casting on the day of the partial solar eclipse, trying to send Charlie on down back to glory. So the sister said, don't watch that shit. I took her word. I said, okay, I ain't gonna watch that shit because I wouldn't go watch that shit any fucking way. But even out of morbid curiosity, I showed some restraint and did not watch it, whatever. But the clip that I saw, which I'm sure many of you have seen, but maybe none of you have seen, because maybe you guys did the same thing I did and not watch that fucking shit. We'll be sure to cue that from the very beginning, because this nigga Trump at a funeral, I want to be clear. Now, I understand it's not at a church, but Charlie Kirk was an alleged fake ass Christian, right? He claimed allegiance to Jesus. So you would think it would be kind of Jesus-y, right? It would be a love thy neighbor kind of vibe. And maybe for part of the ceremony, it was. 100,000 packed out Arizona Cardinal Stadium in Glendale, left all their shit behind. Why? Because the whites don't pick up after themselves. Why would they do that? They must have forgot they deported all their cleaners. But anyway, check out Trump letting the mask fall all the way off. Fuck all that love and forgiveness and shit. Trump's telling you the truth about how demons feel, even at an alleged Christian's funeral service. Let's take a look.
Hate his opponents. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. We got rid of, we took out 1,500 career criminals. 1,500. If you have 3 career criminals, that can make a big difference. But I'm so proud of Washington, D.C., and now we're going into Memphis. And we'll get that one straightened out fast. And then we're going into some others, but we're going to go to Chicago. The Department of Justice is also investigating networks of radical left maniacs. Just like Charlie and Erica made Turning Point hot, we are looking at a country that has the chance to attain a level like never before. Tariffs are making us rich again, richer than anybody ever thought was possible. And the only one challenging them are people that hate our country or foreign countries that are paying a price because they did the same thing to us for years. The same commentators who this week are screaming fascism over a canceled late-night TV show where the anchor had no talent and no ratings. Last week were implying that Charlie Kirk deserved what happened to him. And the violence comes largely from the left. You don't hear that from too many people, do you?
Listen, leave it to a demon to go to another person's, a close friend, allegedly, to go to their homegoing service and make it about themselves and talk about all the people that they hate again over Charlie. That's how I know Charlie Kirk wasn't no fucking Christian, dog. Look who you run with. Look at your mans. Look how your mans conduct themselves at your own funeral, let alone any funeral. But Charlie Kirk, this is how they cut up at your funeral. Okay. There's so many weird things about this Charlie Kirk assassination that I'm not going to even bother to touch, because you guys know that there are 2,000 YouTube creators that are taking you down very extensive rabbit holes. Did Israel have something to do with it? Netanyahu had to come out and say we didn't do it, which probably means they definitely did it. But that's not my business. That's white folks' business. That's white folks' business. I'm gonna stay out of white folks' business. But Trump, unfortunately, is all of our business. And when he talks about 1,500 career criminals, I'm assuming he talks about that he's referring to the 1,500 arrests made in Washington, D.C. He doesn't mention, by the way, that most of those arrests have resulted in charges being dismissed, largely dismissed against mostly Black and brown people. And out of those 1,500 arrests, nearly 1,000 of those were arrests on immigrants of varying legal statuses, right? So criminals, no. Simply being here without your paper is not a crime. It's a misdemeanor, punishable by a citation and a court appearance. It does not make you a career criminal. So all of Trump's numbers are bullshit, which is, of course, is a shock to nobody. But I find it a little interesting. Hold on, let me to figure out where I was going to go after that, because the glaring hypocrisy of the right, how they are the most upstanding, the most moral. They embody true American values, which I don't dispute. By the way, yes, they do. They embody bloodthirsty, genocidal tendencies. They fully worship at the altar of exploit until there is nothing left to exploit capitalism. So yeah, they do embody American values, but what they need to understand is that American values are not moral, okay? They are not just, they do not adhere to any sort of religious ethos whatsoever. The religion of whiteness is more important to white Americans, and even some coon ass Black Americans and some coon asses from other different ethnicities and nationalities as well. Because unfortunately, coon is not reserved for only Black folks, and my brown folks and my Asian folks. Y'all know this because y'all got coons and y'all got damn families in the communities too. But what do y'all call y'all coons? I'm curious. Latinos, check in. Asians, check in. East Asians, Southeast Asians, check in. What do y'all call y'all coons? Because it can't be something as simple as like coconut and banana. They're like yellow on the outside, white on the inside. I'm sure it's way more creative. And if it's a word in your language, please furnish us with the pronunciation, because I'm always curious about these interesting sociological and anthropological differences about how we refer to those that lick the boots of white supremacy that come from different communities. But let me move this along. I want to talk to you guys about the week in whiteness. Where shall we begin? So we started with Trump, a full demon, declaring how much he loves to hate at a so-called Christian's funeral. Wow, chef's kiss, Trump. That was brilliant. Very, very on brand. Very, very on brand. The next clip I want us to go to, because here we go. This, I think this happened last week, and I'm only going to hop on this and hop right off it because it kind of is very representative of a distorted pattern of thinking that comes from mainstream racist white Americans. So the DC mayor, Muriel Bowser, along with some other members of the DC City Council, had to sit before a house. I want to say this is maybe a House Oversight Committee, some fucking committee. I don't goddamn know. It don't goddamn matter. Wisconsin representative, Congressman Glenn Grothman, who represents Wisconsin's 6th congressional district. Hold on, let me ask this fucking Siri. Where is Wisconsin's 6th congressional district?
The Wisconsin 6th Congressional District is a congressional district of the United States House of Representatives in eastern Wisconsin. It is based in the rural, suburban, and exurban communities between Madison, Milwaukee, and Green Bay. This answer is from Wikipedia.
Won't you take me to Crackertown? Sorry. My bad. That just slipped out. So you just heard that. Grossman, Green Bay, the eastern suburbs of Milwaukee. Won't you take me to where? Crackertown. All right. So Glenn Grothman, the representative of Wisconsin's 6th congressional district, had some interesting questions for Mayor Muriel Bowser and some of her DC leadership cohorts, and it had to do with fathers. Now, fathers in the home more specifically, because Mayor Bowser was being asked questions about how did DC respond to the federal surge of officers and National Guard troops deployed to the city for a period of 30 days, even though the National Guard troops still kind of hanging around. And of course, the federal forces are in DC still continuing to fuck with people basically for no fucking reason. But I found it interesting how the inference of the absence of Black fathers leads to some sort of criminality. But when we look at the reverse, and I'm not saying all white fathers are in the home and all Black fathers are not in the home. All of those are gross generalizations, and neither of them are correct, right? There are plenty of Black fathers in their house, and there are significant numbers of white fathers who are not in the house, okay? But we don't examine how many fucking little monsters, little mass shooters, little would-be rapists and abusers, what did their two-parent nuclear family structure do to them to get them to this point? But I first want to start with the widely held trope that Black children commit crimes because their fathers are not present. So listen to this fucking dipshit, all the dipshits, to be honest, but everybody you're about to see is a dipshit, okay? But we're going to start with the HCIC on this House committee for the first instance of dipshittery. So Will, let's go ahead and let that clip fly.
Four experts apparently on the you just heard four experts apparently on the topic give their opinion. I sometimes, when I'm back in my district, which is not Washington, D.C., do ride-alongs with local police, local sheriffs, local police, what have you. And I ask them what the causes of crime, and almost uniformly they talk about the breakdown in the family and how families are not as strong as they once were, is how they're not fathers in the family. And I think if you look at statistics, which are hard to find, on the background of people committing crimes, you frequently look at what I would describe as weak families and fatherless families. Nevertheless, four of you in your prepared statements and talked about what we're doing to reduce crime. Not one of you mentioned the decline of the role in the decline of the role of the father in the family over the last, it's been just getting worse over the last 60 years. I'd like to ask you, are any of you doing anything to try to keep more fathers at home and being mentors for these kids? The vast majority of murders are committed by males. Are you doing anything along the line to get the fathers back in the home?
Congressman, let me answer that by saying and I know that I focused a lot on our law enforcement efforts, but we commit to and invest in a lot of prevention efforts as well, from incredible and effective funding of our public schools to our...
Yeah, I only got 5 minutes. We
Yes,
got to address the topic. What are we
Yes.
doing to get fathers in the home?
Well, sir, we take the position that we support families in whatever form they come in, and we make investments that the government is responsible for. Great schools, great health care, safe streets.
Mr. Jackson, could you want to try to answer that question? Are you doing anything?
Yes,
Talk about the
a
importance.
major priority for funding for community violence intervention programs focused directly on mentorship with young men. In D.C., we have a program called Pathways. We work directly with those who are most at risk, and it's about everything from not just preventing violence, but how to strengthen their ability to be fathers, to be leaders, to be providers and protectors in the home.
Well, are we doing anything to make sure that a higher percentage of children born in the district are born in families in which there's a father in the home? Are we doing something to address that problem, which to me is the big problem? And again, we have these hearings on crime, and none of the witnesses seem to be addressing the root cause of the whole problem.
If I can, that $812 million that was terminated by the Trump administration cut community violence intervention programs. Many of them do precisely that. So if that's a priority, we should be funding, doubling down, and scaling out that work.
I'm not sure that's true, but any of the other guys, Mr. Schwab, are you aware of anybody doing anything to talk about the importance with Washington's youth of having a dad at home when that child is born? Is anybody addressing that problem in the city?
Every day, all day, sir, people are talking about how do we strengthen the family, how do we strengthen communities for young people, how do we make sure that young people have role models, family members, and others. Let me mention one other thing that's important from the work that my office does that doesn't make a lot of press. But one of the things we have a responsibility to do is do child support enforcement. And
No, that's not the problem. The problem
Non-custodial-
is we don't need a guy paying child support or having his wages garnished. The problem is we need a guy in the home. So what are we doing about getting the guy in the home?
We're trying to make sure in the enforcement of our child support rules that we are lowering the friction between non-custodial parents and custodial parents so that kids raised in the home have
So we're
both
not
parents
addressing the
engaged.
problem. Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't agree that we're not addressing the problem at all. We are trying to increase family stability. No government can force a couple to be together but we are, for instance, we have vigorous programs with regard to reducing teenage pregnancy.
Judge,
We are trying to reduce the
Gentleman's
cycle
time's
of
expired.
poverty.
Chair recognizes Ms. Norton from Washington, D.C.
All right. So that was a little snippet. And again, this is why Democrat leadership is so feckless, because again, they treated the question as though it had some legitimacy. And I won't say the question is wholly illegitimate, but a lack of a two-parent household is usually not the main driver of crime. Again, how are we defining crime? Who defines crime? Who gets to determine and make the parameters about what kind of acts are criminal? So, the debate is debatable, right? But the inference to these Washington, D.C. leaders, and D.C. is a white chocolate city, used to be majority black. Those numbers are shifting because of forced gentrification and displacement of generational Washingtonians from their long-held homes and neighborhoods. But what poverty is the issue, right? It's the lack of money. It's the lack of resources. There was a story a couple of days ago here in DC, maybe last night. My time perceptions are way off. A 13-year-old boy was arrested for allegedly committing an armed robbery on a DC firefighter. And the firefighter, I felt bad for the firefighter. I'm not going to hold you. I mean, he said the kid held the gun at his chest, and at the last second, the firefighter knocked the barrel away from his chest. He got shot in the shoulder. But in the interim, according to the firefighter, the kid was trying to stick him up for his phone and was trying to make the robbery victim unlock his phone. My assumption is to get into his cash platforms, right? I don't think the kid was robbing just to be robbing. You know what I'm saying? Like that is to me a very big difference between black youth crime and white youth crime. I see black youth crime happening for survival, right? These kids will rob, they'll go in and do some shoplifting. They'll get their homies together and go rob Lululemon. You know what I'm saying? And go in there, snatch everything out of Lululemon and sell that shit on Poshmark or some shit. You know what I'm saying? These are hustling crimes. These are not crimes of wanton malice and mayhem, right? We're going to see some stories here from some white kids who committed murder and attempted murder because they wanted to. You understand? Not because they had to go out there and go steal something to support the family, Like a lot of times that is exactly what I hear Black children who are in poverty doing. No, some of these white kids come from affluence. They come from stable middle class families, two parents in the family. And they go up and shoot up the fucking school. They go up and shoot up the synagogue. They go and shoot up the supermarket. They go and shoot up the mall. Not because anybody made them or they was hungry, because that's what they wanted to do, because they're being raised by monsters. And that is, to me, a fundamental blind spot that white America in particular, and some corners of even Black America, have, because we're quick to point the finger at the lack of the fathers. Okay, where'd the fathers go, everybody? Well, Trump just bragged that he done locked up 1,500 fucking fathers. He done locked up 1,500 fathers for disorderly conduct and fare evasion. You understand? Don't ask where the fathers are. You know exactly where the fathers are. You have dispensed billions of dollars for law enforcement and private prison construction contracts and expansion of the carceral state to imprison the fathers. You know exactly where the fathers are. And to act obtuse as though on the reverse, white America, nuclear family, cis hetero Christian white America, mother, father. I assure you, all of those kids are not doing all right. And you don't have to believe me. You can watch the news. And speaking of the news, now, one of the most prolific deadbeat dads known to man is billionaire Elon Musk. Now, why is Elon Musk a deadbeat, everybody? Are his kids in poverty? Absolutely not. Elon just don't want to be bothered with them little niggas, okay? And that's the real deal. A lot of white fathers don't give a fuck. Let's start there. B, they got better shit to do. Trust me, I know all about that. The fathers got better shit to do than to be worried about what the fuck these kids think about them, and worried about supervising these children and monitoring their children's emotional well-being and monitoring the kinds of media that their kids are consuming. Guys, that's too much for that is too much for the white father to handle. Okay, too much. Did you guys hear this story? Wait, which one am I going to first? Because they're all wild. Wait a second. All right, let's go to this story, because I want to know more about this young man. So we're about to hear a story about, I believe, a young man in his early 20s from Arizona. Actually, not that far. Well, where is Mesa, Arizona compared to Glendale, Arizona? Close, far. Where were our Arizonans at? Regardless, some of these stories kind of fly under the radar, and they may not make national news. This is why I follow a lot of local media outlets, because you're not going to catch everything. Even if you watch cable news 24/7, they're not going to cover every corner. So when I hear stories like the one we're about to watch here out of Arizona, where a young white man is alleged to have broken into the residence of a mother and her two teenage daughters and tried to kill all three of them. Okay. Now, let me underscore, he did not know them. They did not know him. This motherfucker was just trying door handles, trying windows and shit to see if he can get in for the opportunity simply to kill somebody. Not to rob, not even to our word, right? No motivation but bloodthirst. He wasn't hungry. He didn't go in there and try to steal purses. No, he went in there solely for the purpose to kill. Fortunately, he failed because he's a fucking loser. And we celebrate his loserdom on today because it resulted in the saving of 3 lives. But I wanted to bring you guys this story this week in whiteness. Let's take a look.
2-year-old Lowell Tucker Dorn is charged with 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder. 22-year-old Lowell Tucker Dorn is charged with 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder.
He allegedly admitted that he entered the residence with the intent to kill the victims who were strangers to him. He also admitted that he has significant urges to hurt or kill people.
The court document states the victims, a Mesa mother and her 2 teenage daughters, were collectively stabbed in the neck, face, arms, and legs.
This court strongly believes you would be standing here on a triple homicide charge if some of the stabs that you are alleged to have deliberately, repeatedly, and viciously committed had landed in more critical locations.
The youngest daughter was woken up with Dorn on top of her. The mother and her 2 daughters, putting up a fight, used a hammer striking Dorn, who ran off.
No specific reason at all. And that tends to suggest that you are very, very dangerous.
Police were able to find the suspect as he left trails of blood throughout the apartment complex and was caught on camera. Dorn was later arrested in Tempe. Police say there were no signs of forced entry. It's believed the suspect entered through an unlocked door. In a post-arrest interview, Dorn admitted to the attack, stating he's mentally ill and was high on PCP.
Tempe, Arizona, that's a affluent area, if I'm not mistaken. Chat, confirm or deny. Tempe, Arizona, that's the high rent district, right? Lowell Dorn, 22 years old, accused of 3 counts of second-degree attempted murder. Would have been 3 counts of homicide. You heard the judge. Well, ladies, you have to be careful. Please make sure to lock all your doors and windows. No! Teach your fucking sons to stay the fuck out of people's houses. And lock your doors. But start with the goddamn perpetrator instead of finger-wagging advice to women who are victims of male violence about what they could have done better. Those women did outstanding work. I'm assuming young Lowell got bust upside the head and or the genitals with that hammer. And to the ladies and those young girls, to them I salute. Women, girls, femmes. If you're not carrying weapons, you are really playing games out here. These men, the bad ones, dangerous. And they can be strangers to you, in addition to the ones you know, okay? Because they dangerous too. But there are literally strange men out here willing to commit and take your life and take nothing else except just to harm you. That's it. That's all they want. And if you're not ready to kill them, then you are ready to be victim to them. Okay? I salute to that mother and her young daughters. Bust that motherfucker cranium wide the fuck open. Bust his balls open. I'm not kidding. I need y'all to be toting some sort of weaponry out here. I don't give a fuck. Hammer, throwing stars. the goddamn. I don't dig the chemical munitions. I'm always afraid I'd squirt my fucking self because but it's good if you don't want people to get close to you. But if you get too close to me, baby, I'm gonna try to send you on down to Saturnus to Satanus. I'm gonna send you to hell. I'm going to do my goddamnedest to send you to hell. I promise. Girls, flame emojis up with me. Have you survived some shit out here? You going to survive some next shit, or the next nigga got to survive you? Huh? Flame emojis if you going to kill the next one. Flame emojis if the next one don't stand a fucking chance against you. We not playing out here. These fucking little wannabe murderers and rapers and shit, you niggas are going to die, okay? I promise you. I promise. So anyway, so that's Lowell. He seems nice. Funny thing enough, the young man, I wasn't clear in that package whether or not he said himself that he was experiencing mental health problems. I'm not sure if that was his attorney or who may have put forth that argument. Let me tell you something, mainstream white American parents, especially if you are of the conservative bent, you're not watching your fucking kids. Your children are out here ungoddamn supervised. They are hanging out in these video game 4chan, 8chan forum spaces. They are getting radicalized deep into misogyny. They might be getting radicalized into being femboys, and y'all don't even know. y'all don't even know. And it's a whole lot of these white Christian conservative males who are deeply trying to repress and suppress their same-sex attractions, and it's literally driving them crazy because they are being indoctrinated in their homes that if they are gay, they are bad, they are evil. You're not going to bring me any grandchildren, if all that shit, and it drives them nuts. It unloosens their ability to see the world straight, right? I mean, I don't mean like hetero straight. I mean, it compromises their ability to see things as they are, right? And they end up hating themselves, and they end up taking all of this hate and self-loathing out on others. And usually it's women, and it's women they don't even fucking like. And it could be women they don't even know. You are raising unsupervised misogynistic monsters who have no apathy and no compassion and are not fazed by committing murder or by the thought of becoming murderers. Like, there is a problem in the house. You want to talk about the fathers, y'all. And that's the other thing with these journalists. Let me say this real quick. I know you're like Kim with journalists. You ain't say shit about journalists. No. What I'm saying is this. Where are the deep dives into these young white murderers and attempted murderers and serial predators? Where are the deep dives into their family structure? How come I haven't heard no interviews with Tyler Robinson's parents, his mother and father, a representative for the family even? The amount of privacy, well, we're going to give the family privacy. We're not going to try to invade the family privacy to find out, what was going on in their home that their son decided to allegedly become a expert marksman sniper and take out Charlie Kirk. What's up with Lowell's family? Anybody posted up? Any news media outlets posted up outside of Lowell's family house to ask his mama and daddy what the fuck was the problem? What the fuck was y'all doing? What church did he go to? Ooh, see, white America's not ready for these conversations. They're not ready for these conversations. What's being taught in the church, white America? You want to talk about the black family structure? See, we understand why the black family is fractured and destroyed. It's been fractured and destroyed since slavery. And I know you're like, well, slavery ended 150 years ago. I understand that. The practices of breaking up the black family that began during slavery never ended. It never abated. I think there was a brief period. Let's say 50, 60, 70 years. Maybe a black father was able to stay on and sharecrop the piece of land or bring the family up to the northern city because he was able to get a factory job, right? Like, there was probably a very small window in which I won't even say black families were unimpeded by the state, but maybe there was not as much of mass incarceration. And it was funny to me in that earlier clip that Congressman Glenn Grothman want to talk about for the past 60 years, there's been a so-called lack of black fathers. Well, what has also happened for the past 60 years, right? The rapid scaling up of the mass incarceration state, right? We don't have to wonder where the black fathers are. We know exactly where they are. They are locked up, still some of them serving time for marijuana possession. Miss me with this faux moralization about fathers and their presence and the importance or not of their absence. Because my guess is that a lot of these fucking little white devils had their daddy in their lives. Moving on. Speaking of somebody that had their daddy in their life, Elania, aka Apartheid Clyde, aka the biggest billionaire bitch in the world, Elon Musk. Did you guys hear this story? Now, I don't want to say you heard it here first, but you did hear a piece of this right here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I want to say months ago. Do you guys remember the fact that I covered Errol Musk, Elon's decrepit crypt keeper looking father had a child with his stepdaughter. And we played the interview with Errol Musk. I should have found that shit and brought it back up because, again, the interview was disturbing. Errol Musk, the crypt keeper, saw nothing improper with the fact that he had sex with his ex-wife's daughter, who he had known since she was 4. And not only had sex with her, but had a baby by her. What? These are the family values, everybody. These are the family values. Start grooming your next baby mother from your stepchildren when you marry their mom. What? And Errol Musk in this interview, God damn it, now I wish I'd have pulled that interview up, but I covered this shit on my fucking show. Errol Musk didn't see nothing wrong with that shit. He was like, I didn't see the problem. Me and her mother are divorced. What? What? Oh my God. So when we look at someone like Elon, who has, I don't even know how many children Elon has. I guess he's the white Nick Cannon. I have no idea. I don't think Elon sees any of the motherfuckers, right? I bet you he barely even send money for the motherfuckers, right? Because that's just how deadbeats are. It doesn't even matter what economic strata they come from. A deadbeat is a deadbeat, period. But some news broke. In-depth reporting from the New York Times, which I widely view as a rag. But I suppose when the New York Times decides to cite and source things, they cite and source things. And it has been revealed that Errol Musk might have abused several of his kids and his stepkids. What? Why would he do that? He's a billionaire. He has so much money. I mean, he's so successful. Why would a successful man sexually abuse his children? Because again, you guys look at success through the wrong lens. People in America equate financial success with some sort of morality, right? Oh, if someone has a lot of money, they must be a good person. When actually, it's usually the opposite. The opposite that is true. But let me stop prefacing this, please. Will crank it from the beginning. This TikTok clip from the New York Times gives some interesting details about child sex abuse allegations against Elon Musk's father against his own children and stepchildren, allegedly. So, Will, let's go ahead and run the clip.
In a months-long investigation, we found allegations that Errol Musk, who's the father of Elon Musk, had abused 5 of his children and stepchildren. The Times is not identifying the children, but we're able to show how they fit into the Musk family. Errol Musk has been married to 3 different women. His first marriage was to Mae Musk, who was the mother of Elon Musk. Over the years, Elon has been very vocal about saying that he's estranged to his father. And then after they divorced, he briefly remarried a woman named Sue. And then after that, he married Hyda Marie Musk. She had already had 3 children from a previous relationship, and they had 2 children together. The first allegations against Errol actually surfaced in 1993 in South Africa. His stepdaughter, who was 4 years old, accused Errol Musk of touching her inappropriately. After those allegations were made by the stepdaughter, there was a police investigation opened, but as we understand it from family members and other sources we've talked to, Errol's wife at the time, Hyda Marie, decided not to pursue criminal charges. About a decade after those allegations, Elon Musk actually moved the family out to Southern California where he was living, and what we saw was pretty quickly that whole situation started to unravel. The same stepdaughter that Errol was accused of molesting, she essentially said she caught him sniffing her underwear in her room one day. The family called the police. A restraining order was issued against Errol Musk. Sources and family members have told us that they told Elon Musk about this, about what his father had done, that Elon was upset, and that he eventually sent his father back to South Africa. And what we understand is that Elon also tried to keep the rest of the family in Southern California with him, where he wanted to take care of them to keep them away from Errol. That plan did not work out, and eventually Errol's family, Hyda Marie, his children and stepchildren, they all also moved back to South Africa. After the family goes back to South Africa, Hyda Marie and Errol, they got a divorce. We get to 2009, and that's when another disturbing allegation pops up. So the same stepdaughter filed a protection order here against Errol Musk, basically alleging that he kissed her inappropriately. And the judge did eventually grant a temporary protection order against Errol Musk to stay away from his stepdaughter. What family members told us is that Errol sort of remained in and out of his stepdaughter's life. A few years later, according to his former stepdaughter, they had one child together. Family members say Errol was actually always around, and his stepdaughter was even calling him dad still when this all happened. But the allegations don't end there. In 2023, family members reported to the police that Errol had sexually abused his son that he had with his former stepdaughter. The police tell us that there was an investigation into child sex abuse, but that prosecutors declined to move forward with the case because of insufficient evidence. We've also picked up in some of the records we reviewed that there are allegations that Errol Musk also sexually assaulted his two daughters with Ida Marie and his stepson, but we were not able to find out anything about the nature of those allegations, and the two daughters declined to comment. None of these allegations ever led to an arrest or a conviction of him. These allegations of sexual abuse have not really stopped Errol from how he's gone about his business, how he's championed various business ventures using the Musk name. He says that all these allegations that he abused anyone are nonsense and rubbish.
So you guys know that when it comes to multiple allegations of any form of abuse, really physical, psychological, emotional, and or sexual, and more specifically allegations of sexual predation and or child sex abuse, well, the smoke just fire. Okay, if there's 5 allegations or potentially credible allegations, not everybody is lying. Okay, I'd be inclined to think nobody was lying. And I just want to know why we don't do deep psychological and familial examinations of the super rich and the super wealthy, because there's a lot of perversions there. And pedophilia and incest seems to be right up there. Like that shit don't bother them niggas at all. And I would like to know why. Like, what is it that a decrepit any adult, let me not even say an old, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, I don't understand any sort of sexual attraction to children. It's weird. It's gross. It's disgusting. Like, I don't understand how any adult could find themselves aroused off a child. Like, are you all right? And the answer is no, they're not all right. But because of their wealth, because of their status, because of their privilege, law enforcement looks the other way, shrugs shoulders. Oh, insufficient evidence. We don't have enough. Okay. So nothing happens, right? The stepchild, the stepdaughter that Errol joined her family when she was 4, and the one that he ended up having a child by, I would guess that that was not a consensual encounter. I don't know that for a fact. It's just my sense of things. It sounds as though Errol Musk was grooming this little girl since she was 4 years old, allegedly going in and sniffing her pants. Are you okay? And we supposed to admire his son? We supposed to look at Elon as some maverick, as some genius? Look who raised him. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I bet you if you shook that tree a couple good 2-3 times, more pedophiles gonna fall out of the family tree. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think. I don't know if Errol Musk and Donald Trump even know each other, but they have Elon in common, right? And of course, we know Donald Trump. I don't know if there's not been any formal accusations of Trump directly abusing his children, but Trump likely is a client in the Epstein files. And Epstein raped little girls, and he ran with men who raped little girls, and he ran with women who enabled men that raped little girls. And if you run with a nigga that rapes little girls, what can we deduce, everybody? that you a nigga that rapes little girls too. And there's some deep, deep problems in white America as a whole, but elites, whites, it's sadistic. And there is an intentionality to go after the most vulnerable, the members of your family, small children, people who have entire financial dependence, emotional dependence on these would-be abusers, and they know it. And they count on it and they prey on it. And I can only imagine. I mean, if the New York Times did this investigation, and this is how Errol Musk allegedly interacts with his own kids, his own children and stepkids, what do you think he did to women that were strangers to him, that were in his employ, who were his subordinates? You think he didn't sexually abuse them either? I'm sure his numbers of survivors, Errol Musk, my guess, my speculation, hundreds of women probably. And don't I tell y'all this? I told y'all that regardless of whether or not they take advantage of it or not, every man gets a default number of victims to sexually abuse or physically abuse or commit domestic violence, whatever. Because it's so wild to me that the predators, there's usually multiple victims, multiple accusers. It's like, goddamn, nigga, did you have time to work? Did you have a job? Did you have any hobbies? Or you was just abusing people? That's what you did in your spare time. Oh, jeez, Louise. Watch that story. I bet you more is going to come out there. And wait till Elon's abusers start lining up. Because again, this is learned behavior. These are norms that are established within the family unit. Your sister, your stepsister, your sibling is not sexually off limits to you. Okay. They're teaching this in these white Christian, conservative, wealthy, middle class, poor white households. And we need to get to the fucking bottom of it, because they are ruining generations of their own. And consequently, their ruined generations of whites grow up to be miserable, self-loathing, racist. And then they take out their misery on the rest of us. We have to get to the bottom of this. Moving along in this week in whiteness, speaking of fathers in the house, woo, Errol Musk was in the house. Wow. Sheesh, too much in the house. How about that? There was a story that came out this month, September 2025, about a South Carolina judge, a Republican. Oh, he just got in some big trouble. Can you guys imagine why? Can you imagine why this man got in trouble? Well, let's take a look at the clip, please.
Charleston County judge is preparing to spend the next several nights in the same jail where he sentenced defendants to serve time. James Gosnell Jr. is charged with possessing child sex abuse materials. Our Emily Deanne was in federal court this morning. She shares the chilling details of the case and what's next.
James Gosnell Jr. appeared in a familiar place, the courtroom, but this time as the defendant. The now suspended magistrate judge faces serious charges. If convicted, he could spend several years behind bars. Federal authorities arrested the 68-year-old at his Charleston home yesterday. This investigation started thanks to a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Investigators traced Gosnell's actions to online payments made in November of 2024, which links Gosnell's phone number, email, and home address. A search of his home revealed the most chilling details, multiple videos and images of child sex abuse, including content involving infants and toddlers. U.S. District Judge Molly Cherry did not grant bond today, deferring that decision until a hearing Monday. Gosnell's attorney not happy with that decision.
I don't think that that's the way it should have been done, but she's the judge, she ruled, and so that's what we live with. So we come back Monday and fight again.
Gosnell has presided over cases for decades in Charleston County, including the initial appearance of the Emmanuel 9 shooter, where he's accused of making controversial comments. His attorney is concerned for his safety in jail.
He has been the bond judge on some of the cases that are inmates are there. He's been the preliminary hearing judge on some of the cases that are there. He's issued warrants for some of the people that are there. So there are all sorts of potential problems.
In regards to those safety concerns, we're told the Marshal's Office and Charleston County's Sheriff Detention Officers will keep Gosnell in appropriate quarters at the Al Cannon Detention Center. Monday's hearing could determine if he will be held without bond until trial. We'll be inside that courtroom and we'll bring you new details as they emerge. Reporting in downtown Charleston, I'm Emily Deanne.
The South Carolina Supreme Court suspended him from the bench, saying, quote, his continued service would pose a substantial threat of serious harm to the public and the administration of justice. This is a developing story. You can find more coverage of this case at any time on our website, ABC News.
How old was that nigga? 67, 68 years old? Judge Gosnell. Judge Gosnell. How many Negroes do you think Judge Gosnell had in his courtroom that he absolutely threw the book out, then went back in his office and pulled up some PDF files? What? Oh, yeah. Charleston, South Carolina, you out there? You know anybody locked up in Charleston County Jail at the detention center? Encourage them to stomp this nigga. My people say stomp. You see the judge go stomp. Gotta stomp him out. He's a Chester child molester or a consumer of Chester materials. Gotta stomp him out. Give a fuck who he is. Stomp him out. Stomp him out. Do him like you would do any other sexual predator. I don't give a fuck. This nigga been convicted, not convicted. Trust me, by the time they put the cuffs on a 68-year-old white man who has a elevated social status as in a judge, trust me, they got a mountain of evidence on that nigga. Okay? Guilty. You want to talk about law and order? Is the Department of Justice staying on top of the child sex abusers and those that produce and distribute this material? That's one arrest. I want to see more because I know there are more. And I know they come from the ranks of these so-called elites, really across racial lines. But in America, the whites are the ones at the top of the racial and economic caste system that we have in this country, right? The whites sit atop of that mountaintop. And I promise you, there are a disproportionate number of abusers and people that agree and are totally okay with this kind of egregious violations of humanity. That's what child sex abuse is. Like, you must really hate people if you would ruin a child, if you would break a child, if you would destroy a child's sense of self and well-being and safety. You would do that to a kid, or you would be someone that would watch someone else do that to the kid. The gallows with your guillotine, fucking drawn and quartered. Like, there is not enough torture for you. Like, not enough torture exists. Well, they're going to make sure that Judge Gosnell is held in the appropriate sequestration way because of his status as a judge. Why? Stomp him out. Stomp him the fuck out. Let him make it to trial and make sure that he serves, let's say, a few days, couple months in jail before somebody does him in, or let him remain there for the rest of his elder years. I don't know. We'll let the fates decide. But did you guys hear that story? Doesn't that strike you as a worthwhile national story that a sitting judge in an all-red Republican state that triple trumped has been charged with numerous counts of possessing child sex abuse material? How come that's not national news? Seriously, did you guys hear this in the national news? I don't watch fucking CNN and MSNBC and none of that shit. I know goddamn well Fox didn't report that shit because Fox News definitely doesn't want the fucking conservative mainstream racist whites to understand that indeed the killer is calling from inside the house. They don't want the Fox would not tell you no story like that, because again, it would force some sort of reckoning with their culture, with their ethos, with their values, with what they hold dear. You know what I'm saying? They're not ready for that. Not ready for that. By the way, Judge Gosnell, I think in the piece, didn't they say that he made controversial comments? And I actually meant to look what those were, because he was he the arraignment judge or the bond judge for Dylan Roof, who murdered and slaughtered numerous Black folks inside of Mother Emanuel AME Church some years ago in South Carolina. Again, where was the examination of Dylan Roof's family structure, huh? What possesses any person to go into a church, pray with them, and then murder them? I don't know Black people to have done that, to be honest. But several whites, many whites, many whites wish death upon church. Yeah, they do. Who just ran that? Who just ran us something? Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. I heard we got like 150 people in here with us. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it so much. Trady, thank you so much for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Will appreciates it. Molly appreciate it. We all appreciate what you do, Trady. Thank you all so much. If you want to support, please go to Cash App, $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB. Shout out to our folks on PayPal. PayPal.me/BIDWKB. PayPal's not a social media platform, Cam Auntie. I know you think everything is a social media platform because you're born in the 70s. But no, and of course, patreon.com. We appreciate our patrons who show up for us each and every single month in and month out. Hold on, I'm not done with y'all. Open up Google Docs, because the whites was busy this week. It was a busy week in whiteness. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, guys. We are about 1,500 subscribers away from 10,000. So do what you can to help us get there. Do what you can. Guys, I want to say this. I think, trust me, I did not run out of stories on this week in whiteness. I'm choosing to come to a stop because I need to move along to my next segment. But I did want to say this real quick. It's extremely rich to hear from people who made it literally their business model to separate Black families during enslavement, right? To literally commodify the bodies of Black children, to rip away fathers from their children, mothers from their children, to disperse entire clans of Black folks in order to extract a profit, and then have the audacity to come 100 and some years later and ask how come the Black family structure is what it is, right? Even ignorant people understand that family trauma sometimes take multi-generations to repair. But when each subsequent generation keeps continually experiencing the trauma, the healing never takes place, right? The repair never takes place, okay? I don't know. And no, let me rephrase. I do know. White families are not subjected to those same type of societal pressures. White fathers are not being stopped and frisked for fitting the description as they enter and exit the metro, as they drive to and from to work, as they're going to and fro to pick up their kids, right? White fathers are not subjected to the horrors of police brutality and to the unfairness of the criminal justice system at the same rates that Black men and Black fathers are, right? And yet their kids, the white kids, are out of control. But when you look at who these fathers are, who is in the house, you want to know who's in the house raising these little white devils? Errol Musk. Would you like to know who was in the house raising these little white devils? Judge Gosnell. Like, I need white America to please look at yourself in the mirror. As Kalechi would say, face your fucking front. Other communities absolutely have structural and societal problems, but we know the reasons and we can articulate and tell y'all the reasons. White America can't tell us what the fuck is wrong with their family structure and why their kids are like this. And the reason they can't tell us is because they don't care to know. They don't want to know. Because that would render them culpable. That would render them responsible. And then they have to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? But here's the kicker. The ones that are raising these little white monsters, they are as scared of these little monsters as we are scared of these little monsters. So what? So white mandom is just get to run amok and terrorize us all? I suppose. I suppose, because when you have Tyler Robinsons and Dylan Roofs and Peyton Genderons and all these, who was a little shithead who shot up the goddamn Aurora. This shit was so long ago. There's been so many of these motherfuckers. The Aurora school movie shooter who dressed up as the Joker. I mean, there's so many. I can't even name them. There's too many. Someone raised them. Someone fed them. Someone suckled them. Someone did something. And the family structure and the value system of white America needs to be confronted by white people. Black people, we confront our shit all the time. White people, the racist ones, well, how come you don't talk about black on black violence? You don't pay attention to that. Those conversations are held on a regular routine basis, usually held at the community level. Black people are constantly trying to get to the root and come up and find solutions for the ills that affect our community. White America is not interested. You have a mental health crisis and your children are receiving little to no help. You have children with varying disabilities, neurodivergencies, etc. And Donald Trump is cutting those programs that help your kids emotionally regulate and adjust themselves, right? Correct your people. Collect your fucking people immediately, because they're gonna capsize us all. I'm gonna take a really quick break, and I do mean really quick, because we're gonna keep this party rolling, because it's Tuesday, goddammit, and niggas got shit to do. So let me keep this rolling here. Thank you all so much for being here. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the stream. Shout out to our folks watching on Twitch. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you to all the support, likes, free support, material support. We take it all. So I told you guys the infringing on Washingtonians, Washington, D.C. residents, infringing upon their rights continues. The federal surge of alphabet boys, in addition to Metropolitan D.C. police really feeling themselves, they must have had a good batch of steroids at the gym over the past month, because I feel like the Metropolitan Police Department has really been feeling themselves and really being very fucking extra out here amongst the residents. And Trump is claiming all these significant drops in crime. Well, I guess there would be a drop in crime if nobody goes the fuck outside, right? Like, how can anybody be robbed when there's no one to be robbed? Everyone's in the goddamn house. And it has definitely had a chilling effect here in the city. I've seen the videos coming out of Chicago, where the National Guard seemed to be held at bay, but the surge of ICE agents and Homeland Security was not held at bay. And in fact, there were some really incredibly disturbing images coming out of Chicago as it pertained to how ICE was getting down. Peace, Keith. Appreciate your support. Thank you for the Cash App support. Appreciate that. But I want us to go to Memphis, Tennessee. You know we love Memphis. Shout out to Memphis. Trump wants to send federal guard troops, National Guard troops, whatever, the local militia, the goddamn, I don't know if it's Tennessee National Guard. I'm not exactly sure who Trump wants to send. But apparently they are coming to Memphis with the support of Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. I don't think Memphis's mayor is in support of this, but this mayor has capitulated quite a bit to the likes of Elon Musk. on a number of different issues. Elon Musk, of course, running his AI technology data center out of Memphis. Of course, it is dirty and big pollutant to the Memphis community, especially on the black side of town. But that's a separate issue. That's environmental justice. This here is state occupation, additional state occupation. And I want us to run this first clip because white Republican leaders gathered in Memphis to celebrate the arrival of the National Guard. But the black leaders, obviously, thankfully, had a different take. And they did not sound like shoe-shining ass Muriel Bowser talking about, we welcome the federal partnership. If any surge in federal resources can help us get a hold of the issues we have here in the district, we encourage any additional support being sent by the federal government. Bitch, go fuck yourself. How about that? People in Memphis did not sound that way, and I'm so very grateful. So please, Will, let's go ahead and run that first piece.
Until then, live in East Memphis, I'm Joyce Peterson. Joy, back to you.
We say no! No! We say no! No! We say no! No!
All right, what you have just heard is clear opposition for the National Guard coming to Memphis as it continues with a lot of folks. Some Memphis City Council members there, as you see, standing outside City Hall, side by side with community members against President Trump's plan. Action News 5's Michaela Redmond joining us live now with why they say the Guard is not needed here. Michaela.
Joy, according to the resolution, some council members believe support from the National Guard is unwarranted and troops won't increase public safety or reduce crime. At the same time, the Republican Party of Shelby County tells me the resolution is a political stunt that undermines efforts of solving the crime crisis.
We need resources to support our schools. We need resources to support our infrastructure. We do not need Donald Trump and his National Guard in the city of Memphis. Let's be clear about that.
One message loud and clear outside Memphis City Hall. Some members of the Memphis City Council formally introducing a resolution asking Governor Bill Lee to reject President Donald Trump's proposal of sending the National Guard to Memphis. It also advises the council attorney to take whatever legal action is necessary.
I understand that we are the underdog in this fight. But just a few blocks from here, there's a place called St. Jude, where children and doctors beat the odds every day.
The resolution says the threshold outlined in the Tennessee Code to enlist troops into service has not been met, whereas there is a breakdown of law and order, a grievous breach of the peace, a riot, resistance to process of this state, or disaster or imminent danger thereof. It also says the Memphis Police Department recently reported that overall crime in Memphis has reached a 25-year low as of September 2025.
We say no! No! We say no! No! We say no! No!
But according to a White House spokeswoman, in 2024, Memphis had the highest violent crime rate, highest property crime rate, and the third highest murder rate in the U.S. Following the president's highly successful operation to combat violent crime in D.C., which objectively drove down crime rates across the board, numerous Tennessee officials have applauded the president's decision to address crime in Memphis next. Addressing crime will benefit all who live in and visit Memphis. Regardless, Councilwoman Jerry Green says,
I'm not going down without a fight. Hey. Thank you.
Now, Smiley tells me next Tuesday morning the council will meet and take up the resolution and then hopefully move downstairs into the chambers at 4 p.m. to pass it. For now, reporting live at Memphis City Hall, Michaela Redmond, Action News 5.
The NAACP also rejecting the deployment of the National Guard here to Memphis. In a statement, Memphis branch President Kermit Moore mentioned the city's recent data showing a decline in violence. He said, quote, these clear and measurable results prove that our city's own strategies are working and federal intervention is not only redundant, but also risks undermining the progress we have made, end quote. Action News 5 has been covering the National
All right, all right, all right. So you see there the vocal opposition from the Memphis elected groups, at least the black ones, came out and said no. And to be clear, everybody, this is not about crime. This has been stated by much more learned people than I. Of course, this is not about driving down crime, because this is about trying to take the temperature of the country to see how well or unwell you all and us, all of us, respond to teeny tiny bit of martial law, right? Teeny tiny, to see armed National Guards, the National Guard, armed. It's not clear if they're going to be armed on the streets of Memphis or not. Some of them are armed here on the streets of DC. Thankfully, no negative incidents have happened pertaining to the National Guard, but still, their presence definitely feels hostile. It absolutely feels like an occupation. It feels like a takeover. And I know Washington, being a federal entity, is different than, say, Chicago or Memphis. So I appreciate the Memphis City Council at least not feeling, I guess, the way that Mayor Bowser feels, like she thinks she can't speak up and speak out in opposition because, you know, Trump might hear her because he's right there. But it doesn't even matter. Like, if you are going to comply in advance, then you are feckless as a leader. You might as well go resign. You're not going to stand up for the people. So I do appreciate the Memphis City Council. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, even if it doesn't do anything, it's on the record. They tried to do something, I guess. But I don't appreciate this piece here, because a bad bitch actually spoke at this press conference of Memphis black leaders. Okay, dare I say one of the leading leaders of Memphis, Tennessee, and her name is Amber. A is for Afro on social medias. You might know her. She hosts a show called the Remix Morning Show. She needs to host her own goddamn show, because Amber is a show. Okay, I'm a big fan of Amber. Amber spoke, y'all. And not only did Amber spoke, Amber preached, okay? Because Amber is nice with the shit, okay? I am such a big fan of the young women, especially young black women and young Latinas. Shout out to Rose Alba. I love y'all so much. And I know you're like, Auntie, you not that much older than us. I am, though. I was babysitting y'all when y'all was too little to stay at home by yourselves. Like, I'm so proud of young millennial women and young Gen Z women. Like, y'all are just incredible. And Amber is one of those women. I hold her in very high esteem. I admire her quite a bit. And you about to hear in part why, because Amber be fucking spitting out here, okay? Why? Because she a bad bitch, and that's what bad bitches do. So shout out to the bad bitches. Amber, run that. Let's go, Will. From the beginning.
My name is Amber Sherman. I'm the Tennessee lead organizer of Black Voters. My name is Amber Sherman. I'm the Tennessee lead organizer of Black Voters Matter. We need opportunity, not occupation. That's right. And I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like. Tell it. So although so many federal funds have been removed from the city of Memphis that would actually give us opportunity, just last year, the official Black Lives Matter Memphis chapter made sure that over 300 students went to therapy for over 6 months and received wraparound services that lowered the youth crime in the city. Yeah. Just this past year, the Collective Blueprint increased their youth economic development programming in partnership with the city to make sure there were wraparound services like child care stipends, emergency transportation support, make sure they had mentors, so if they didn't get the job that they wanted, they were able to still get further skills with a mentor to get that opportunity they needed. That's the kind of investment that we need. We don't need the military. We don't need the National Guard. We need investment in the city. We need a county commission that's brave, that votes for a tax increase to give more opportunities to us. We need a federal government that puts more money into affordable housing, because y'all buying up all our houses from these out-of-town investors and then don't put anything in place to make sure they don't keep getting all our housing that's available. We need child care options and child care subsidies so that folks can go to work. So if they get a good paying job, they can make sure they can show up and on time. We need actual and tangible investment into the real issues for poverty eradication. That's right. We do not need military occupation. That's right. Thank you.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. Y'all heard her. Amber Sherman. Black voters matter. Y'all better put some flame emojis up in chat for Amber for spitting that shit. And listen, you hear Amber spit that shit? She listed off 3 local organizations, including the Memphis chapter of Black Lives Matter, that provided counseling for 300 kids for 6 months, y'all. Think about how forward thinking that is. You know what I mean? I appreciate mentorship programs and that stuff, but our kids need mental health, okay? They need mental health help. Really, every child in America needs intense mental health help, but particularly those that may grow up in areas where violent crime is prevalent, where gun violence is prevalent. In Tennessee, it's an open carry state. Everybody got fucking guns, right? I appreciate her listing off these organizations that do things like provide childcare and transportation services and job training opportunities. And these are all solutions to quote unquote crime that many educated folks and people who have studied the issue of poverty and crime says that if you get people these things, if you get them housing, if you get them skills training, if you get them childcare, if you get them mental health services, guess what? People's situation will improve. You know where people's situation doesn't improve? In fucking jail. In jail. And guys, you know me, I hate abusers. I want all the abusers and the predators. Well, I want them to go to hell, not jail. But I want them to go to hell, not jail. But I'm cool with them going to jail. I'm not cool with people who are in possession of drugs or who have enough drugs in their possession that now they're charged with intent to distribute and charged with paraphernalia, or motherfuckers who go to jail for reckless drive. Like, there are many, many, many crimes in which people do not need to be locked up for. But if you are Black and you are poor, you will find yourself in jail for exactly those things. And then when you add the National Guard and you put the battery pack in the back of the local police, and we know that Memphis police don't need no more fucking sizing up, because they've already proven to us that they can absolutely kill niggas without guns. Isn't that amazing? I just want us to be clear here, y'all. Anybody that is Black and in a position of leadership, or even who is just a regular Black person, and you hear them calling for, well, we need more police in this neighborhood because the crime is out of control, please educate them. Tell them that police do not change crime stats. Police presence, in fact, increases the likelihood of crime. Yeah, I know it might sound counterintuitive, but if you look at the neighborhoods and the communities that have the most police, they also have the most crime. And the police are not there necessarily to stop the crime, okay? I know that's what they tell you, but hello, we have had over-policing in Black neighborhoods for generations. Why doesn't the crime go down, huh? Billions of dollars have been spent on policing. We have not spent billions of dollars trying to eradicate poverty, okay? We have not spent billions of dollars trying to address the mental health crisis or the housing crisis. Imagine if we actually spent the same amount of money or more combating unhousedness and unemployment and lack of health care and mental health care. Imagine if we took away the police dollars, defund or reappropriate. If we took away those billions of police dollars and put them towards those things, our society would look a lot different. But that's the whole problem, right? Our communities would improve. Well, a rising tide lifts all boats. If conditions in the Black community would improve, then conditions in all communities would improve. But they don't want that. they want y'all niggas down bad forever and ever, okay? We're not going to allow it, and we're not going to allow ourselves to be run under the threat of martial law and so-called law and order. Trump, the National Guard, and the local polices can absolutely go fuck themselves. Staying on Memphis for a second, I wanted to give an update quickly on a story that I brought you here because you guys know I am in full support of women defending themselves against anyone that means you great bodily harm. I don't care what their gender or their gender expression is. If you as a woman or a femme or a girl are being attacked or perceive that you are about to be hurt, you have every right to defend yourself. But in the United States of America, it would appear as though if you are a Black woman, that same right of self-defense is not afforded to you. Remember the story earlier this year, 2025, I believe it was in the summertime, of a local Memphis pastor, Ricky Floyd, was shot and killed by a woman outside of a local late night spot in Memphis. The woman was charged initially with voluntary manslaughter, and we showed the video here on this platform of Pastor Ricky Floyd exiting his vehicle. The whole incident took place outside in a parking lot, outdoors, right? We saw the video of Pastor Floyd exiting his vehicle and approaching this woman in a very hostile and aggressive way, menacing towards her physically, while the woman told him to back up. Back up. He didn't back up. She fired a single shot, killed him dead. One shot. Initially, she was charged with voluntary manslaughter, which I was vehemently in disagreement with. Why is she in a so-called stand your ground state charged with voluntary manslaughter? She didn't know this man. Well, there's bad news, unfortunately, in this case. And there has been an upgrade in the charges. I believe the sister's name is Samantha Marion, but they're going to say it in the piece. And I am perplexed by this escalation in the charges against this woman who was very clearly in fear for her life and defending herself. So let's take a look.
Indicted a new charge for the woman accused of shooting and killing prominent Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd earlier this year. Good evening and thank you for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Stephanie Skurlock. Samantha Marion now faces a second-degree murder charge following her indictment last week. WREG's April Thompson has reaction to the charge and what's next in the case.
Samantha Marion now facing a second-degree murder charge. This indictment showing a grand jury found Marion unlawfully and knowingly killed prominent Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd back in March outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen, where the two apparently got into an argument over religion. Pastor Errol Fisher was a friend of Pastor Floyd's.
So if this is a step in the direction of figuring out what exactly happened and what level of accountability and responsibility certain parties need to adhere to, then I would have to be here for that in the name of Ricky D. Floyd and all of those who love him.
WREG reached out to the Special District Attorney's Office in Nashville, now handling the case. They say Marion will next have another bond hearing on these new charges. Pastor Floyd was known for his community involvement and longtime work, especially in Frazier. But Marion's attorneys say something else happened that night. They sat down with WREG to show us a video recorded by Samantha Marion the night of the shooting. It shows Pastor Floyd approaching her as she tells him to back off.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, back the up. Back the up.
Samantha Marion's attorneys say the video shows aggression on the part of Pastor Ricky Floyd, and they say Samantha Marion didn't know what he was going to do.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through 2 individuals to get to her, and watching him storm the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out. But he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
WREG reached out to the family of Pastor Floyd, but they declined to comment. Pastor Fisher hopes everyone moves away from the spin that Marion and Floyd knew each other. Her attorneys say they did not and move toward the facts.
And giving us the concrete nature of who should be held accountable for what happened and to what degree they should be held accountable.
Reporting for your news leader in Memphis, April Thompson, WREG, News Channel 3.
In addition to second-degree murder, Samantha Marion also faces a charge of employing a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony and reckless endangerment with the deadly weapon.
What is this, y'all? What level of the fucking dystopia in the upside down are we in? The video is clear The man approached her being physically aggressive, trying to push through other individuals in order to get to her. What would you have thought? A large man who you don't know stopping his car, throwing his fucking truck in park in the middle of the street, hopping out, leaving the door open, keys in the truck, not saying a word, but just menacing, coming towards you, advancing. You are backing up. You're telling him to back up. You pulled a pistol out. He see the pistol. He's still coming at you. What the fuck was she supposed to think? Oh, that's Pastor Floyd. He ain't about to knock my fucking teeth out. Wrong. wrong. See, again, when and this is a problem across the board in America, but we look at people in certain positions in certain professions as though they are above board, as though a pastor would never punch a woman or strike a woman, or a pastor would never sexually abuse a child or prey upon his women parishioners. No, that would never happen. Not pastor. And I need Tennesseans. I think we got some folks in Nashville. Please be checking your mail for your jury summonses, okay? Because we need Black women on this lady's fucking jury. She's facing second-degree murder charge, possession of a firearm, in the deployment of a felony. I'm sorry, self-defense is a felony. See, this is the problem, y'all. I find myself kind of betwixt and between, because I think that women should absolutely choose violence when confronted with violence, okay? Men have killed us, maimed us, disabled us, traumatized us for far too long. It's time for the tables to turn, okay? But I hate that there are sisters like Samantha Marion, like Marissa Alexander, who was the sister from Tennessee, who was the young woman Kim Kardashian got out of jail, the young lady who had been sex trafficked and killed her pimp, her abuser, and they locked her up and finally let her out. Like, again, I don't know if Pastor Floyd had intentions to physically harm Samantha Marion, but I applaud her for not wasting time to try to find out. And I am devastated that her charges have been increased and that nobody, at least no one in the special prosecutor's office out of Nashville, like, y'all really don't see where this lady was coming from, huh? Like, you really can't put yourself in her shoes. It's funny because when police make split-second decisions of life and death and they decide to pull the trigger because the police didn't know they were in fear for their life, how come being in fear for your life doesn't apply to you if you're a civilian, let alone if you are a Black woman? How come the self-defense of I was in fear for my life does not apply if you are a Black woman? I guess you just got to get beat the fuck up and see what the fuck happens and hope the nigga don't kill you. And then you get to shoot him. Come the fuck on. Burn this bitch to the fucking ground. And if you are in Tennessee, I need you to please educate your people about this story. Okay? I'm not kidding. We need women on this goddamn jury. And listen, I'm not unsympathetic or uncaring to the family of Pastor Floyd, but simply because he was a pastor does not make him a godly man. I appreciate whatever little community service. I'm not going to call it little. Let me not diminish it. I do not know this man. But what I do know is that in his last moments, he made a woman in fear for her fucking life, okay? And I don't think that that is how a godly man needs to go and meet the Lord. He could have kept his ass in his fucking truck. He could have rolled his window down as he was driving by and said, fuck you, bitch. But no. He wanted to teach her a lesson. Whatever he wanted to do and or say to her, he wanted to do it in her fucking face. And was unfazed at the sight of a pistol because she told a nigga to back up 3 times. He chose violence. He reaped the consequences of his choices. He could have made a different decision. And yet this lady has her life snatched away in the sense that now she has to defend for it. Unfortunately, girls, ladies, femmes, I got to find out more information. I'm in support of this woman. I want to know how we can support this lady. I know they don't let you make GoFundMe's for people facing murder charges, right? I don't think GoFundMe let you do that. But yo, there has got to be a way. We got to run this lady some bucks, y'all. We got to not only run her some bucks, we got to run her some support. We should not have to wait to see what our attackers are gonna do before we get the chance to defend ourselves. Support Samantha Marion. We'll keep you updated on this story. And last but not least, I'm going to leave you guys here with a palate cleanser. Now, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Like the video. Thank you, Vicky. Oh, Will, did I see some? Well, no, I'll hold this. Okay. Yeah, I did see some boxes and shit. So we'll hold those to the very end until after the palate cleanser. So let me get this out of here first. All right. So tonight's palate cleanser. It's a young sister on TikTok. Her name is Rain of Fire. I think I've been following her for a couple months. And y'all, because the font on TikTok is so small, sometimes I don't even know what account it is. I got to take a picture, I got to take a screenshot, and then I got to blow it out, and then I got to read the shit. So sometimes I follow people based off what they say, and then I look at who they are later. And it wasn't until today that I actually looked at this young lady's account name, because I've been following her for some time. She's I think this is one of the young practitioners of the practice. But she's not talking about that in this clip. Her account name is called Rain of Fire, which you guys know how that brought a smile to my face. I said, look at that. Like attracts like. I had no idea what this lady's account name was. So when I saw this, I said, oh, that's why this landed. That's why this resonated. So if you are a person, but let me send this specifically out to women and femmes and girls, okay? You know, sometimes bitches be talking shit. They be talking shit about you. They be looking at you, wondering what you doing, how you doing it, how come they can't do it, how come, why that bitch, okay? And when you find yourself the object of a hater's attention, I don't even want to refer to them as haters anymore, everybody. We're going to call them the uglies, okay? Regardless of how they look, because how they behave is ugly. And we will refer to them in the plural, even if they are in the singular. They are the uglies. Okay. These are the new rules. All right. New terms and conditions. Okay. Anybody slandering your fucking name, anybody that got evil eyes for you, anybody that want to talk shit, pop shit, lie on you even, right? Or sometimes bitches think they slick. They want to get a little joke off at your expense. This is for the uglies, everybody. Now I want to be clear. Everything Rain of Fire is about to say here, I don't wholesale support. I don't support the fat phobia that she's gonna let loose. You know, people's relationship status, I think, is a little arbitrary. I definitely don't subscribe to the fact that every single woman, especially, is miserable because she ain't got a man. No, I don't subscribe to that. But I do subscribe to 85% of the shit that she about to say. I'm just letting y'all know in advance the shit that I don't agree with, but it's minimal because the overwhelming majority of this message landed with me, and I want it to land fucking with you. Okay, we'll run it from the top. Good bruv, thank you.
Think about it, I ain't never had beef with her. And come to think about it, I ain't never had beef with a pretty bitch. I ain't never had beef with a bitch who was confident, who was focused on their goals, who had shit going on for themselves, because they weren't worried about me. They were worried about their lives, what they had to do. I never had beef with a bitch who was confident and happy in their marriage. I never had beef with a bitch who was in a relationship with someone and happy. But no, I always attract the single people or the people who's in this polygamy thing because they desperate, because they coochie stink or something. They gotta go back and forth because they stink. I also never had beef with a bitch who didn't look at me in a sexual way. Like, I don't go that way. And I don't want to hear that, oh, everybody is beautiful. No, not everybody is beautiful. Bitches are ugly. If you got beef with me, bitch, you ugly. All the bitches who had beef with me were ugly. They were wide back, musky, dirty, stank, like sloppy wide back. Like the type of people who would get multiple surgeries and they still ain't got that face card. Like the desperate one seeking attention, hoping to be noticed and looking at other people because they're insecure. It was always them weird bitches. Like, bitch, love yourself. My mama and daddy gave me this face. God gave me this face. If you got a problem with how you look, then go ask God. Don't take it out on me. And stop watching me. I'm still gonna look the same. Ain't gonna change. I'ma still whoop your ass. Ain't shit changing. You still gonna get your ass beat and stomped. And come to think about it, the last wide back Amazon sumo wrestler ass bitch who had beef with me, she had a bunch of roaches in her van. And her husband left her with a bunch of kids. And she was single and she was not happy. And the bitch had beef with me. And I wonder why. Why is it always the roach bitches? There's the ones who look like roaches. And the ones who have roach infestations. And the ones who have STD infections. Go to therapy. Leave me alone. Go to therapy. Go to therapy.
I bookmarked that video weeks ago. Hearted it and bookmarked it. Again, I don't co-sign to 100% of the message, but you guys get the overall gist. And you guys know that I live in proximity of some uglies. And I've told y'all, I've caught these uglies in Espanol in my direction, but you know, they don't offer translation. So caught them again. And I said, you know, instead of feeding into the demonic desire for negative energy, because that's what demons really seek, is a negative reaction, right? They really want to elicit you cussing them the fuck up and down. Of course, you guys know I am gifted in that area. But I said, no, not this time. Let me do this. So that young sister's video, Rain of Fire. I pulled up the video, put my phone, I got a new phone. My phone got a good speaker on it. Pointed it in the direction of the uglies. And I cranked it up max volume. And I played the video and I went in the house. I let the video play for like 5 fucking minutes. So you know that bitch was on a loop. Let that shit run. Let it run. Let it run. Let it run. Came back outside, sat back down, sparked up my thing, started scroll. Them bitches went in the house. You know why? Because the message landed. Oh, it landed in many, many ways. So I wanted to share that knowledge from the young goddesses out here. Any bitches talking shit about you is a bitch that ain't got shit going on in their fucking life. It's a bitch not getting no dick, no pussy, no orgasms. The bitch is having no fun. The bitch is probably a terrible person to be a coworker with, probably a terrible family member, probably a lot of things. And the reason why that bitch has got your name in her mouth is because you are flourishing and glowing and sparkling in such a way it makes that bitch nauseous. It makes her absolutely sick. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to keep being sickening to them bitches. Okay, I want you to keep being your usual, normal, regular, phenomenal, exceptional self. Because y'all know me, I'm regular shit. Okay, I ain't gifted at the feminine arts or none of this shit. Okay, this is me busted, bitch. Remember when I used to be bad? These bras got a lot to say, and I'm regular, and I'm like, God damn, like, how down bad are you in your own life? I could care less, but that's okay. You know why? The ancestors, the spirits, the orishas, the cosmos, everybody's keeping tabulation, okay? And it's Libra season. and the scales will be balanced. So I wanted to give you that boost. Anybody talking shit about you ain't got shit going on in their fucking life. And to channel our Jamaican sister, and you could tell them to go suck their mother. Okay. All right, y'all. Good talk. Hey, I want y'all to be cool out here. Please tune in to the Remix Morning Show tomorrow morning on Black Liberation Media. It is Women's Wednesdays. It's going to be a great show with Jackie, Ricky, and I think special guest Netfa Freeman. So please tune in to Black Liberation Media, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Do that. I'll see you for Classical Breakdown. Me and the Ear Doctor will be talking about D'Angelo. Let me say it in the Maya Angelou voice, like Ear Doctor D'Angelo. Yes, we will be featuring the musical stylings of one Virginia native, D'Angelo. And of course, join us back here on Friday for Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the Friday edition. Will, I saw some boxes roll up. Who we got to acknowledge real quick?
Schultze and Alizarian. Thank you, Schultze and Alizarian, for your super chats. Schultze said, I still love your show.
Thank you, Schultze. Alazarine, thank you so much, Schultze. Thank you so much. Listen, because y'all know I'm not talking about y'all. Schultze, I'm talking about the raggedy whites, not you. And you know this. Alazarine, you know this too. Like, I appreciate our white viewers who understand. Y'all don't respond as hit dogs. You know why? Because again, I think I've established that. Hashtag not all white people, but we know that doesn't need to be said. So I appreciate those that understand where we're coming from. And I hope that 3i Atlas leaves y'all here. I hope 3i Atlas only takes the rest of the whites. And I hope maybe that's the rapture these crazy Christians is talking about. 3i Atlas coming to rapture they ass. Oh my God, please take them. I would say take them all, but don't take Schultze, don't take Franny, don't take Alizarine, don't take Dawnbird, don't take Silberg. Leave them niggas. Take the rest of all the whites. Collect them all from everywhere. But anyway, y'all be safe out here. I love you all so much. Thank you so much to Will and Molly. Peace to all of our mods and the gods and the goddesses. And we'll see y'all back here Friday, y'all. Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Deuces, deuces.